I wanted to do a follow-up to the Sawtill video, and what I wanted to do was, what would I do differently about this Sawtill? Now, first of all, I got some light in the corner, so you should be able to see it better, because before I really didn't have good lighting, and I apologize for that, but I'm in a basement, so it's a little bit hard to get good lighting. So, I did all of it out of 3/4 pine, except for this bottom piece, which didn't have to be that strong in the first place, because I'm just hanging a couple tools off of it. I would move this further in, about an inch in. It's at 6. I would put it at 5 inches from the back. That's the first thing I would change. I would possibly make it 6 inches taller, maybe, because a lot of saws are actually bigger than this, but I guess it is what it is. I'll acquire more, and eventually if I ever need one, I'll build one, but I still have the space for like 3 or 4 saws. So I would definitely move this further in. But otherwise, is there anything that has happened that I don't like about it? I don't think there's a whole much. Definitely I would move this in, but I don't think that otherwise there's really too much of an issue. I do like the height it is at now. That height being, the base of it's like 4.5 feet, and the top of it's probably 6 feet. But the height it's at is good now, because you can get to the handles pretty easily, and all these tools are pretty accessible. Now, what I like to say is that it needs to be, you need to be able to grab it with one hand. Any tool you want needs to be one-handed. So obviously some of these down here are a little bit simpler. You can just pull this off. You know, you can just pull a saw off. And so that's pretty easy to do with one hand. You need to be able to, however, grab every other tool with one hand. And so, like these planes, I can do like that. Grab it with one hand. Pop it back on one hand. Something like my steel-faced mallet here, hammer I suppose you could call it, is a little bit trickier to do with one hand, but it's still possible to grab one-handed, which I think is important in a workshop environment. And then to put it back, I'm just going to come in here. Now here I just put 2 loops of wire to hang this. You could do that any way you like. So everything is one-handed, accessible. It's at a good height, and there's enough storage on it. Obviously, if I didn't have the cabinet next to it, I could put more stuff on that side, kinda as I did with the planes on the one side, but I don't know if that's necessary. That cabinet, actually, I did that one at school. There was a door on it with a mirror in it, but I put that upstairs. It was a medicine cabinet, but I put the mirror upstairs in my room to use, and I'm using the cabinet down here. As you can see, I never put a finish on either of them, but it's a shop project, so it really doesn't need a finish. Now, I'm suspending both the Sawtill and the wall cabinet with just screws. So I have 1, 2, 3 screws in the Sawtill and 3, 4 screws in the wall cabinet. So that's really more than enough. They're 2.5-inch screws, so they can hold basically anything. And I do think that's a pretty good spot for it. And also, as you can see down here, I have my old workbench underneath there, where I keep some other tools, some bulk tool storage there, and some smaller stuff in those drawers. I also have some wood down here I can use. And so that's just about it. Now, if I wanted to show you up close, see, I'm hanging these off of hex screws and just a length of wire wrapped around it, kind of electrical style. In here again with the 3 screws, you don't need a whole lot because they're not really that heavy. And I just cut little grooves in here. I maybe would cut those with a circular saw to make them a little bit wider, but there's no issue. I use my widest kerf saw, so that way all the other saw plates fit into there pretty fine. I don't think there's really an issue here. If I have to, I could put more storage on the side of here or on the side of here. So all in all, it's worked out pretty well for me, and I don't think there's too much in it that I would change. So if I can get my camera set back up here, I don't really have a proper tripod, so Gonna have to prop it up on a piece of wood, but that works out pretty well for me. And I suppose that's that. That's what I would do differently if I could, and I certainly could, but I'm not going to. So next I'm gonna do the same thing with my workbench, and I'm gonna talk about some upcoming projects I'm gonna be doing.